Hi there. Alright everyone, so as per usual, I have a bunch of news articles here that I found over the past couple days, and I'm going to give you my 2 cents on them, hopefully some helpful information. And I'm going to begin talking about MLK, of course, because yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Check out this article by NPR. What's amazing to me is that so many people think that NPR is the most unbiased and stand-up in name in journalism, but they are anything but. Look at the headline of this one. Despite swirl of conspiracy theories, investigators say the ML case is closed. They are really trying to debunk anything in regards to MLK in this one. Here they are talking about conspiracy theories flourishing about, well, maybe it wasn't James Earl Ray that shot him. Maybe there was multiple shooters. Maybe there was some actual conspiracy in his death. We'll talk about that in a minute here. But NPR just goes into this long list of all these reasons why we should believe the mainstream narrative about this. But check it out. The one thing they did not mention in this article, speaking of conspiracy, is the 1999 civil trial in Tennessee that literally the whole jury, 12 jurors, they all reached a unanimous verdict. And right here, the testimony of over 70 witnesses they had in the civil trial, they actually concluded it was literally a conspiracy by the very definition, right? So conspiracy theory here is becoming conspiracy fact, like so many of these concepts and topics are. But look at it right here. Martin Luther King Jr.'s own wife, Mrs. Coretta Scott King, welcomed the verdict. So this is not just some fantasy, made-up idea. Yes, there was literally conspiracy in MLK's death. And this is why you don't trust the media, folks. And speaking of not trusting the media, people are surely waking up. This is a beautiful headline by the Daily Caller here. 2018's first quarter ratings are in. CNN is getting destroyed by other news networks. So Fox News topped the list, which I was happy to see. Granted, I'm not saying everything Fox News posts is true. They're still fitting a lot of stuff into that stat quo mainstream narrative, but they're definitely getting a lot of political bombshells out into the open. And I'm happy to see that they are front, and CNN slipped to number 11. CNN was even behind TBS and the History Channel and the Discovery Channel. So that's just funny. The Great Awakening in action, guys. You literally vote with your choices. If you don't want these media organizations not to have power, turn it off. If you don't want these huge food and pharmaceutical corporations to exist and flourish, don't buy their shit. Don't buy their products. You vote with your energy, with your lifestyle, with your choices. Rant aside, still sticking on Daily Caller articles, this one's talking about Jim Carrey. I got some thoughts that I want to share on this guy. Look at it. Jim Carrey criticizes Sean Hannity and Fox News in his latest artwork. And scrolling through this article, you can see a lot of the artwork that he's recently been painting. This one has Alex Jones and Sean Hannity going at it, wrestling in a ring. Jim Carrey even tweeted that they should join the WWE. This one right here of Donald Trump touching his own nipples and eating some booby ice cream. And then just some other weird paintings. And Jim Carrey has seriously lost it, guys. And this is the note I want to make on him. Not only him, but this idea in general. Jim Carrey is just an example where people think that these guys are so conscious. They're talking about consciousness. They're talking about new age stuff. They seem to be promoting truth. You know, I've seen some stuff about Jim Carrey around. I'm sure you have too. Of him, whether it's something he said or something he did on a media interview that was like, oh, he's so conscious, new age, he's taking down the New World Order. But then they do shit like this. And it's just an example of us following the stars. You know, don't follow the stars, be careful of that. As Q has been saying, for example. But it's like these guys are specifically tasked with trying to gain our trust and then specifically get activated for a certain psyop. This could be the case. Who knows? An example also is Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher was testifying in front of Congress about sex trafficking, but he was doing so for the Thorn Organization. The Thorn Organization is associated with the McCain Institute. John McCain, sorry, I said his name. Who's his name, who we don't say, Arizona Senator. He was literally, it's just a smokescreen. It's a smokescreen, guys, so be wary. I'm not saying Ashton Kutcher knew, he could have been unaware, but Jim Carrey, he's aware he's painting this shit, let me tell you, unless he's just in some drugged out days. But be careful of following the stars, guys. Next order of business here, check it out. So remember that CDC scientist, Timothy Cunningham, who went missing about a month or two ago? Well, his body was found in an Atlanta river. And look at it right here. So CNN, of course, officials came out very quick to say that no signs of foul play were done in his death. Apparently he had drowned. I don't know. It's again, very mysterious. He worked in the CDC. He worked with various projects pertaining to Ebola and Zika before, and possibly vaccines as well. So, I mean, this just connecting the dots with all the other mysterious deaths of holistic doctors over the past couple years. What number is that up to now? I think I've seen 80, 90, even 100 mysterious deaths. I think we can add this mysterious death to the list. Granted, he's not a holistic doctor, but what did he know? Who was he talking to? And what was he talking to these people about, you know? And to show up in a river drowned, how many mysterious deaths do we have of people drowning as well over the past few decades? So I want more answers. Next article, look at this one by Business Insider. A blockbuster gene editing tool just got one step closer to overtaking GMOs. And look, it's the CRISPR. They're talking about that gene editing tool, CRISPR. Foods edited with the gene editing tool CRISPR. I said I wanted crispy fries, not CRISPR fries. Won't be regulated as GMOs because of a law from the USDA that's been in the works since September 16. So we could have food that's been gene edited, but since this gene editing is technically different than GMOs, it's not going to be labeled. And there's this whole push that this gene editing tool CRISPR is not going to have the same effect on foods that GMOs do. You know, but if GMOs were so good for us, A, why would the mainstream media be needing to say that? They're kind of outing themselves and their GMOs right there. And B, I'm not buying that this shit won't have bad effects on us. They're altering the genes. I mean, why do you need to alter the genes in the first place? There's so much that can be done naturally to the genes of food, and there's so much that we could do organically to help crops grow. We don't need this kind of shit. But I'll be doing videos on GMOs and all this nonsense in the future. Let's talk about Russia. Those Russians. So look at this. Congressional investigators trying to get to the bottom of Brennan's role in the Russia investigation. So I'm not going into the pretty long story of the connections between John Brennan, Senator Harry Reid is even mentioned here, what they were making up about trying to blame Trump and Russia, of course, just a whole shit show. But I will link this article down below where you can look into it. But hey guys, John Brennan is being outed. Eyes are closing in on him. After this article was posted, John Brennan just went to town on Twitter, and he says, I served 6 presidents, 3 Republicans, and 3 Democrats. I directly supported Clinton, Bush, and Obama. I didn't agree with all their policies, but I admired and respect them. Not so with you, Trump, as your self-adoration is disgraceful. So, isn't that bullshit? Oh, I've heard all these people, and what, are we supposed to trust these names? Like Bush, especially, with Clinton? And he admired and respected all of them. So he's just outing himself right there. And he's nervous, I'm sure. Shitting his pants. I'm sure a lot of these people are in panic mode. It's pretty interesting as well that when Q dropped the post regarding the TAC, the Analyst Corporation, which was founded by John Brennan in 1990, he dropped that on the 4th, yesterday, early mid-afternoon. This tweet from John Brennan was about 9 p.m. late evening. So interesting little, you know, John Brennan being outed from multiple different sources. I'm sure Brennan had his eye on those multiple sources. I mean, let's be real, guys. These elites have their eyes on the boards just as much as we do. So multiple ways, like multiple eyes, points of attack, I should say. So yes, they're scared. And speaking of Russia, we had this event One dead after a Moscow shopping center went ablaze, which just in circumstances, of course, is it really a coincidence? Or was this some kind of behind-the-scenes attack? Always got to keep your eyes open. Now moving on to some economics news. Zero Hedge, one of the best sources for that, saying that the trade war, this apparent trade war going on between the US and China, possibly even China and Russia soon, this trade war, not going to get into speculations of why and what that might be about, but simply saying here that it will drive gold over $1,400, a very high price. And when you combine this with the recent talk of the gold standard being implemented again, we had a House Resolution HR 5404 on March 22nd come out, and some people make some interesting remarks saying a gold standard might be coming soon. I think it might be time to think about stocking up on precious metals if you can. And speaking about stocking up on precious metals, just going to shout out a channel sponsor here, Noble Gold at noblegoldinvestments.com. These guys are pros in trying to help you turn your investments into more holdings with precious metals. So they do great work in showing you how to invest in gold and in silver and in metals instead of the fiat paper currency system that we have. So go check these guys out. noblegoldinvestments.com can help you gain more money in the long run with precious metal investments. Now look at this, another cover your ass article coming out of the mainstream media, this one from Newsweek, about the Florida shooting. So Parkland student conspiracy theories explained. All of these rumors are debunked, they're saying here. You know, and I honestly wonder when I look at these articles how many views they're actually getting on them. Sometimes they don't say, and I'm like, I bet hardly a few thousand people look at these articles, you know. Here we are all nervous about what the mainstream media is saying, but really, who actually reads this stuff? But anyway, let's read this stuff. Just to see what they're saying, right? It's always good to see what the enemy has to say. And here they are trying to debunk pretty much every piece of evidence. I'm not saying it's fact, but I'm just saying it's piece of actual legit evidence that has been out there about the Florida shooting. Here they are trying to debunk it. So, Hogg didn't attend the high school, or, talking about this website called Hogwatch. I haven't been to it, but here they are talking about it. Oh, Hogg wasn't at the school when the shooting took place. Gonzalez ripped up the Constitution, which that video, if you saw that video, saw some mainstream media outlets trying to attack Gab because Gab retweeted that video of Gonzalez ripping up the Constitution. It was an obvious CGI, and Gab even said it was satire and a joke, but apparently some people can't take jokes, or is it just really convenient for their PSYOP agendas to, take these angles? You see what I'm saying? But anyway, just all these conspiracy theories apparently are debunked now, so don't worry about them anymore, guys. And now, this is a big article I found. I just decided to type in geoengineering into Google today and see what comes up. I do that with certain keywords now and again. But this came up from The Guardian, and this article just came out yesterday, the day before. Today? Actually, I'm wrong. Came out today, and it's even plugging Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation already, so it's bullshit. But look at the headline of this one. Scientists suggest a giant sunshade in the sky could solve global warming. And here we are, continuing the geoengineering normalization, guys. Is that normal for that shit to be sprayed over our heads for 66 times the normal amount of natural aluminum to be found in the snow of Mount Shasta? Is it normal that people are getting more Morgellons, shit growing out of their skin, and just... No, this shit is not normal. It's not supposed to be like that. We're not supposed to have aluminum and barium sprayed over our heads. It's been done for decades, but now since so many people are waking up to it, they're trying to normalize it in the media. They're trying to make you think that geoengineering is good for us, whichever way they can. Of course, human-caused global warming is one of their largest fear-driven agenda narratives they try and push. So, hey, let's just freaking spray all this shit in the sky and create our own cloud layer and completely mess up weather patterns and people's health and whatnot, but we won't tell them that. This will save the planet, right? This will save the planet. So they won't ask questions. This will save the planet. And funny enough, speaking of John Brennan, if you actually look at John Brennan chemtrails. So John Brennan, at the end of 2016, was talking to the Council on Foreign Relations. There's also a lot of talk about the CFR lately, you know. And here he is talking to the Council on Foreign Relations, admitting to chemtrails, or more officially, stratospheric aerosol injections. That's what he was calling it. So, oh man, I can't wait to watch this guy eat shit. No, sorry, I might have to edit a little bit out of that so I don't get a community guideline strike. But anyway, yeah, look at this. No, I'm not feeling it. And then last couple articles, this one out of Forbes.com, also coming out today, and this one's real interesting, saying the Drake equation is broken, here's how to fix it. Now, a little bit of background. The Drake equation is that equation that came out from Francis Drake in 1961 that's popularly used to estimate how the chances of extraterrestrial life in the cosmos. Now, of course, this is what's been touted in the mainstream, so in the real world, it's all bullshit. But the Drake equation is what they claim to estimate ET life with, or the chances of which. And this article is saying that it's broken and that we have to actually fix it. We have to reanalyze how likely ET life is. And then very last thing I want to share with you guys here. This is pretty funny. Check it out. It's from Gizmodo, but it's about, in Canada, they're actually creating a new coin. It's a $20 coin, and they're commemorating a very popular UFO sighting from Canada. It's a 1967 sighting where apparently a dude saw this huge flying saucer over this lake in Manitoba. And just speaking of normalization and soft disclosures, preparing our consciousness, that's just neat. That's just pretty cool. And quick note on that, just my thought, it was in 1967 and it was a flying saucer. So just want to make it known that it could have been one of theirs, could have been a non-terrestrial sighting, absolutely, but it could have very well been one of our own, because by 1967, of course, Nazi breakaway secret societies were already developing flying saucer technology, and there were various groups or programs in the United States as well that were working on actual discs, flying saucer discs. So they definitely had that technology by 1967. So this could have been a saucer out of Antarctica, could have been a Nazi saucer, could have been an American saucer. I mean, maybe Canada. Some groups in Canada were delving into that technology, had access to it. I'm not sure by then. But yeah, could have been ours, could have been theirs. So that is it for this one, guys, here on April 5th. Thank you all for tuning in. And just a quick reminder, if you want to support me and this channel, you can do so on Patreon. There's some exclusives you can get for signing up there, live chats and messages and whatnot. You can also do one-time donations on PayPal. Thank you very much for each and every one of you that do. And then check out my Spreadshirt store as well. There's some t-shirts on there, and I'll be adding more designs. So if you want to support, grab some swag, go ahead and do so on Spreadshirt. And also, if you want to work together with designing, I'm always trying to work together with designers or creators, music creators, editors, whatever the case is. So go ahead and shoot me an email at destroyingtheillusion@gmail.com, and we can get started on some work. So anyway, thank you guys. Have a beautiful Thursday. I'll be checking in with you soon. Peace!